Hi, everyone. I am Susan Sturm, and I'm faculty in the School of Education here at NAS, and I am this year's TIL Digital Learning Fellow. So I'm doing sort of a guest spot in this module to share some good online and effective inclusive pedagogies for you all to consider. So I'm going to refer back to this article that was shared from Columbia University Center for Teaching and Learning. And we're going to look at these 5 principles, and I will share how I address these principles in some of my courses. My courses that I'm sharing are from fall of 2022 when I was teaching both flipped classes. And a flipped course is a class that puts most of the content for students to learn online. So it feels a lot like an online class, but every other week they come to class in person and we spend time going through the concepts. So I do see these folks every other week. However, all of their learning takes place online. So it acts very much like an online class. So the first principle I want to talk about is establishing and supporting a class climate that fosters belonging for all students. And I want to just share, if you scroll down, you can see some bullets here, and I want to share how I do this in my classes. So the first one I'm going to share with you, this is my course set up in Moodle for this graduate class on literacy assessment and assistive technology. And you can see how I organize everything in folders. It's super clear every week, aligns to the date in the syllabus. There's a date range for them, and the topic is clearly noted. And what I want to share actually comes from week 1 of this class. And I start all of my flipped or online classes in the same way, with a module that walks them through what they can expect in a flipped class, some tips for staying on track in a flipped class. And then there's always a part 2 of this intro module. After I orient them to flipped learning, then I ask them to introduce themselves. And I'm going to share a way that I do this in order to build that culture of community right off the bat before I even see them face to face. So this is homework, quote unquote homework, for their first class meeting. And essentially what I do is I set up an editable Jamboard for them, and I call it Introduce Yourself. And I put some directions at the start here for them so that they can see, I'd like you to add a new Jamboard to this. Here's how you do that. And I leave it at that and require them to figure out how to do it. I've never had anyone ask for help with this, so this little directive seems to work for them. And then to model for them another good inclusive pedagogy, I do it myself first. And I make a little video where I walk them through who I am and my life. So these are pictures of me and my family, my cat, things that I like to do, things that I have as hobbies. And I share this with all of them. And that's to get them comfortable with sharing in our group, seeing that I'm sharing first. And then I tell them all, this is how you will introduce yourself in class. So then I open the Jamboard and I tell them you don't have to put personal photos if they find, Google images or stock images that they want to plug in. That would be perfectly fine as well. Most of them choose to share personal photos, which is really lovely. And then I tell them that I take it down at the end of the semester so people can't come and take their pictures later. So I open this up in our first night of class, and it's a really great system for me to, one, remember who everyone is because I see images of them, I see their families, and I can make lots of good connections to who they are. Helps me remember names really, really well, which is not a strength of mine generally. And then it allows them to kind of show and tell some things about their lives, and it's just like good memory points for everyone in the class. And we use this as a good starting point for building our community. The next thing I want to share with you is how I offer students an opportunity to give feedback. So sort of halfway through the class in a 14, 15-week class, this usually falls in week 7, I offer a midway course evaluation, and I do this as a Google form so that I can kind of collect long-term feedback on the courses that I repeat teach. And I ask them a few different kinds of questions. Of course, I'm asking what's beneficial in this class to you? And I list the things that they've done. What's least beneficial? How are you feeling about the hybrid nature? So I ask about the assignments and the elements of the course that I've designed. I ask them about that hybrid meeting. I ask them about flipped learning. How are they feeling about it? And then I asked them too about the content of the class. Like we just read a really compelling text in this class. How'd that go for you? How'd the first assignments go for you? And I always offer others so that they can fill in the things that they want. I ask about my teaching. I ask about things that I do that they've never seen anyone else do. I ask ways that I can improve my teaching to meet their needs, things that they're proud of, concerns they have, how are they feeling supported or not in this class. And then I ask them a program director question because they are all in programs that I oversee, and I ask them if there's anything in the program that they feel like is missing. So it gives them a chance to kind of self-assess where they're at, give me some feedback on the class. It does a lot of things for me. And then following up on that, in the very next class session where I see them, I always do this sort of data analysis slide where I pull out the big themes. I talk about how many people completed it, what I'm noticing, things that they want fixed. And then I always find a couple of action items to make changes on. So here, folks in this section said they wanted small group discussions, more of them. So I started doing that in the second half of the class. I always get shorter, fewer readings, shorter videos. I do try to work on that. That's an area that I'm working to improve. And then I promise them that I'm going to keep up the things that they really like about the class. So that's really important, asking for feedback early, often, and then making changes based on what you find. The last thing that's mentioned in the website that I do, and it is simple, but I'm going to share it anyway, is to hold virtual office hours. And I found during COVID times, this was mandatory. We all had to meet with our students online, but I'm keeping it up because it's more convenient for them. So if you click into my virtual office hours, you'll see it takes them to, there's this really great office hour appointment scheduler. If you want more information on how to set this up, just reach out. I'm happy to help walk you through. It's super easy. There are tutorial videos and TLT as well, but I have tons of slots open. And as I have meetings that fill up my calendar, these get blocked off, which is super convenient. But I teach grad classes, so I always make sure that I have at least a couple nights a week where I do go a little bit later with my office hours. And those are usually the ones that get scooped up by students. But offering them a consistent space where they can come and sign up for office hours. If you look back at my course, it's right up in the top block. They know they can reach me. It's linked in the syllabus. I show them in class. And I have a lot of students take advantage of those, which increases that culture of community in the class. They know how to reach me. They know how to find me. It's super easy for them. They can take office hours whenever they want, wherever they want, as long as they have internet. And it's just another way that I create a climate of community in my classes.